Roster Bubble Watch. Less than a week from now, all NFL teams will have to trim their rosters down to 53 players, including the Chicago Bears. So I'm going to kind of go position by position group and break down where this thing sits, who are locks, who are guys still fighting for that spot. And toward the end, we'll find out the number of bodies I came up with fighting for how many spots. So you'll kind of find out as we go. My name is Harrison Graham. This is Chicago Bears Now. Reminder, next Tuesday, August 26th, 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 Central Time, 53-man rosters are due. They must be submitted to the National Football League. So the Bears and other teams will start trimming down. And for Chicago, game Friday, you'll probably see cuts starting to come in Saturday and Sunday. So we'll be sure to have you guys covered on that. Okay, quarterback. I think this one's pretty cut and dry. You've got your 3 locks. They're all going to make the team, and they're not going to keep Austin Reed. I think good chance he's on the practice squad. But Caleb Williams, Tyson Bagent, Case Keenum, that's your QB room. No controversy there. So that's 3 spots. Running back. I think these are the 3 locks: DeAndre Swift, Kyle Monangai, and Travis Homer. Swift, of course, is your starter. Monangai's had a great camp. I'd be shocked if he didn't make the team. And Homer is a Richard Hightower guy. He's going to make the team for special teams. Obviously, that leads to question, what about Roschon Johnson? Is he safe? Is he not? If he's healthy, I think he's likely on the 53, but he's missed the last couple of weeks. He's had multiple concussions in the past. Not sure what's going on with this foot issue as we're filming this. He could also be a short-term IR candidate. Reminder, 2 players can be placed on short-term IR, so that is a possibility. But it's also possible, let's say they just don't feel good about Roschon or they just want to find a better option. I still think going external to add a body here, a Brian Robinson, a Kenneth Walker, a Breece Hall, depending on who's available. We know Robinson is, but to beef up that room a little bit with a more reliable player, that could be in the cards as well. So keep an eye on that. I think if Roschon's healthy, he's on this team, but I couldn't quite put him in the locks category. Okay, receiver. 4 locks: DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Olamide, Zaccheaus, and Luther Burden III. We know they're all in the 53, barring an injury on Friday. Knock on wood, that doesn't happen. 2 questions. 1, who else makes it at receiver? And 2, how many make it? Do they keep 5 or 6 receivers? I don't think they'll keep 7. I would guess 6, and if it is 6, then 2 of these 4 make it. Devin Duvernay, Miles Boykin, Tyler Scott, who had a really good showing against Buffalo. I think he would need to have another strong one to make a case against the Chiefs. And then Jahdae Walker, who almost blocked a punt the other night, has special teams value, big body receiver as well. I think he's an intriguing guy to monitor. I think Devin Duvernay out of this group is most likely safe, but he did miss the last game, got injured before the game, so keep an eye on his status. And then I would guess Miles Boykin is next up because of his special teams ability, and he's a big body guy, but we will see. But 1 or 2 of these 4 will make the 53. I don't think J.P. Richardson's in the mix anymore. Could be on the practice squad, but I don't think he can make the 53. Samari Torrey, the rest of the guys, I think they're on the outside looking in. Maybe Maurice Alexander, but I would be a little surprised there. Okay, tight end. 3 locks: Cole Kmet, Colston Loveland, and Durham Smythe. Smythe hasn't done a ton, but I think he's on this team. I think he's good to go. Kind of like receiver. The question is, A, do they keep 3 or 4? And B, if they keep 4, who is that 4th? I'd be shocked if they kept 5 tight ends. Matt Nagy used to do that back in the day, and everybody would be like, why the hell is he keeping 5 tight ends? But Stephen Carlson or Joel Wilson. Coming out of OTAs, Wilson seemed to be ahead. In training camp and in the preseason, Carlson's flashed more, but Wilson had a better game last time out. So maybe that comes down to this last week, this last game. We shall see. But they could also go external here as well. Maybe they cut both, try to pick up someone, or maybe they just keep 3 tight ends. We'll have to wait and see. But they run a lot of 12 personnel, so you would think having a 4th guy could be on the table. Okay, offensive line. I actually think there's 8 locks here, and you could argue for a 9th, which means there's not much wiggle room, depending on if they keep 9 or 10. Usually you keep 9 or 10. Maybe 11, but I doubt it. tackles first, Darnell Wright, Braxton Jones, Ozzie Trapillo, Theo Benedict, who has guard flexibility. I do think the Canadian Eagle is a lock. Joe Thuney, Jonah Jackson, Drew Dahlman, your 3 interior starters are locks. Ryan Bates, he's held up health-wise. I think he's firmly on this football team. He's had a good camp. He's stayed healthy, so that's 8. You could make the argument for Luke Newman, who's had a pretty solid camp in preseason as well, the 6th-round pick. I think Kiran Amegadjie really stands out here, right? We haven't seen Doug Kramer in a couple of weeks. I think he could be in trouble because of that. Bill Murray's been banged up. Jordan McFadden's a name we haven't talked about much. He's quietly played a lot of snaps in the preseason and held up fairly well at guard. Could he sneak in? I wouldn't rule that out. He feels like more of a practice squad player, but we'll have to wait and see. But the 3rd-round pick out of Yale from last year, I think is the biggest name to watch for Cutdown Day, because Kiran Amegadjie is now working exclusively with the 3s at left tackle. I have said, going back to last year and definitely throughout this camp, and definitely as he has fallen behind in this competition, why not get him a look at guard? Like, if I had a criticism of any player approach here, and I'm not saying I know more than these guys, but give him a drive or 2 at guard against the Chiefs. Get him some practice reps at guard. He is not going to be your starting left tackle. That is clear at this point. Not going to play right tackle. Why not work him in at guard? If he shows you enough there, I would keep him around. You drafted him in the 3rd-round pick last year. He's got developmental traits. I would not punt on this, but he's behind Theo Benedict. I don't see how you could justify cutting him and keeping Amegadjie at this point. You could keep both, but I don't think you can go Amegadjie over Benedict, so he is the biggest name to watch as we get closer to August 26th. A strong performance on Friday would go a long way. I would love it if they played him at guard, just see what he can do there, but they have not been willing to do that at this point in time. I want to hear from you guys. Will Kiran Amegadjie make the Bears 53-man roster? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Let me know. Okay, we'll go to the defensive side now, as we're now up to 24 locks the way I see it. Montez Sweat, Dayo Odunze, and Austin Booker at edge. Booker got dinged up. As we're filming this, we don't know his injury, but assuming he's healthy, he will be on the 53. And then that gets us to the bubble at edge. Dominique Robinson, who also got dinged up in that game. Tano Passanio, who's healthy and has actually shown some decent things. I think he's actually in a pretty good position. And then Daniel Hardy, who I know they like on special teams. I don't think he's a typical Dennis Allen 4'3" defensive end. He's 6'3", 240. He's a little smaller, especially compared to like a Passanio. So I think that would be a Richard Hightower selection if he makes the team, I would assume. But kind of like running back, another position where they could still add externally. Do you bring in a Zadarius Smith, a Jadeveon Clowney? Do you swing big in a trade for someone else at that position? But I think you got your 3 locks, a couple other guys in the mix there. We'll see who ends up making that initial 53-man roster. All right, more roster bubble talk in a second, but I would be remiss if I didn't tell you about today's sponsor, Prize Picks. Daily fantasy made easy. The best daily fantasy sports app is Prize Picks, and they are back with us here on Chicago Bears Now. I'm fired up about it. Get signed up and started today. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get a $50 bonus into your account once you sign up and play for just $5. It's very easy to play Prize Picks as football season is here. You just pick more or less on stat projections on 2 to 6 player lineups. If you get your lineup right, you can win up to 2,000 times your money. That's right. Turn $10 into $20,000 on certain lineups with Prize Picks. You got an awesome deal for week 1. Dak Prescott, more than half a passing yard. If you want to just do a 2-player lineup, you pair that with something else you really like, boom, win 3x your money. 20 to turn into $60. Awesome, awesome opportunity for week 1. College football is getting going here as well. Lots of opportunities, baseball, other sports also. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS. Get $50 into your in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Link is in the comments and description. Get signed up today. Okay, more roster locks. Defensive tackle now. Grady Jarrett, Javon Dexter, Andrew Billings, Shamar Turner. They're all going to be on the team. The one caveat was, could Shamar Turner be a short-term IR option? But he's been making his way back. In fact, he could even play on Friday. So, unless he retweaks it, he'll be on the initial 53, obviously, as a second-round pick. And then there's 3 guys in the bubble. Don't know how many defensive tackles they'll keep. Don't know how many edge rushers. But Chris Williams, Zach Pickens, Jonathan Ford, who were all on the roster at times last year. They're kind of all different players. I think Chris Williams is the best pass rusher of the bunch. Jonathan Ford's the best run stopper. Pickens is kind of in between. He can do a little bit of both, but has done neither at a very high clip. But he was a third-round pick a few years ago, so he's got the most equity with the team in terms of where they selected him. He's had an okay preseason so far. A big game on Friday would certainly go a long way. I would guess maybe one of these 3 end up making the 53. Okay, linebacker. I think it's cut and dry. Kind of like quarterback. These are the 5, and they're keeping all 5. I don't think they're keeping a 6th. I don't think there's someone really pushing for a spot. Power Echols has popped to me a little bit. I think he's a textbook practice squad guy. Development him there. Maybe a Sways Bozeman as well. But I think that room is set. You're sitting in nickel most of the time, so you have two starters. Noah Sewell's that 3rd guy. Ruben Hippolyte's your 4th guy who also plays on special teams. Eamon Ogbongbemiga is one of your better special teams players. So that's your linebacker room. I'd be shocked if it was anything else. Cornerback, a position of attrition during this training camp. A lot of guys have been going down. I think your locks are Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson, Nashawn Wright, and Josh Blackwell. I think those 5 are on the team. Blackwell is a huge special teams player for this roster. And then I think this is kind of the bubble. Zay Frazier, we don't know what they're going to do with him. He's been away from the team due to personal issues. I was told that he's been in the building some, but I was not given more information on that. So, and he hasn't practiced, so I don't know what you do with him. Do you get him on, you got those 2 short-term IR spots, the NFI, whatever it is. So keep that in mind. Nick McLeod, I think he's been trending up recently. He's more of a nickel, so I think they'd have to feel pretty good about his ability to play outside corner in a pinch. Trey Flowers, who is over the edge, but he's been scrappy in these games. I mean, do you keep him out of necessity early in the year just as an extra outside corner? And you might, because Terrell Smith, we don't have, again, I'm filming this late Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night. We do not have an official news release on this, but that did not look good. I mean, Ben Johnson said thoughts and prayers after the game. So I assume, even if it's not season ending, he's not going to be on the initial 53. At minimum, he's going to be on short-term IR, so you're going to have to keep another corner. I think McLeod is better overall, but Trey Flowers is an outside guy, so that'll be interesting to see kind of what they do there. So keep that in mind as well. Subscribe to the channel because we're a family. Listen, we do content every single day. We interact with you guys. We go live 3 times per week, including today, not tomorrow. We're doing a Wednesday live show this week with the game on Friday. Didn't want to go back-to-back there. So we'll do today at 4 o'clock Central, Friday at 5:45 before kickoff against the Chiefs. But if you want daily and free Bears content, hit that subscribe button. Okay, safety now. Kind of like linebacker. I think it's these 4, and I think it's only these 4. Major Burns was catching my attention a bit, but he went down with an injury, so he's out of the mix now. Alex Cook has flashed a little, but not enough to make the 53. I think it's these 4 guys, and I'd be shocked if that wasn't the safety group. You don't really need a 5th guy, especially with a guy like Nick McLeod. He could play safety in a pinch, I think, if you keep him. So I think those are the 4 you keep. And then your specialists, Cairo Santos, Torrey Taylor, Scott Daly rounded out. So that's 45 players. We did a similar exercise coming into camp for the whole 91-man roster, and I think locks were at like 29 or something, which was kind of loose. We knew it was more, but 45 now. And honestly, the Bears may have it higher, but based on what I've seen and how I'm analyzing this, you got 8 spots. And based on the bubble for each position we broke down, which we'll now show you guys in chunks, 21 players for 8 spots. Roschon Johnson, Devin Duvernay, Miles Boykin, Tyler Scott, Jahdae Walker, Stephen Carlson, Joel Wilson, Kiran Amegadjie, Luke Newman, Doug Kramer, Jordan McFadden, Bill Murray, Dominique Robinson, Tano Passanio, Daniel Hardy, Chris Williams, Zach Pickens, Jonathan Ford, Zay Frazier, Nick McLeod, Trey Flowers. I'll add an asterisk for Terrell Smith as well, given his somewhat unknown situation. But that's really it. 21 players, 22 if you count Smith, for 8 spots to make this 53-man roster. Now, in some ways, it's 10 spots because there could be an IR stash or two. Remember, you got those 2 short-term IR possibilities for guys that don't get subject to waivers. So that is certainly on the table as well. But that's it. And it could come down to this practice today, the game on Friday, maybe the first practice after the game on Friday, which will either be Sunday or Monday before Cutdown on Tuesday. So clock is ticking. If you're on that bubble, if one of these guys watching this video who I'm listed on the bubble, maybe I'm right or wrong, this is it. This is it. You gotta earn your stripes. So, going to be very interesting to see what happens because I think this has been a competitive camp. It's going to be hard to finalize those last few spots. All right, name a player on the bubble that you are rooting for. Who's someone that you're pounding the table for? We all saw in Hard Knocks last year those position coaches, they're always pounding the table for a guy in their room that's on the bubble. So let me know who that is for you. My name is Harrison Graham. Appreciate everybody who watched this episode of Chicago Bears Now. We will be live this afternoon, so we'll see you then. Subscribe.